Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, on this very bleak Wednesday here on
Yeah.
hashtag Fade to Black. All the gangs are here. Welcome, Teach. Welcome back. So let me go ahead with the introductions like I always do. Welcome. We got Anita Joe, aka Teach, Mayo,
Good evening.
and
Good
Beast
evening to
Johnson.
everyone.
And then me,
Hello.
your host, Donnell Lamonte Moores. Another very, very sad day today.
Yeah.
More cases and all that stuff. And it's crazy. One is happening around your neck of the woods, Mayo, and then also another is happening down in your neck of the woods, Beast Johnson. I mean, it's hard for me to do introductions now, start off on a positive note, but I can't even do that. But we just gonna do a little round robin before we do the opening statements. I'm gonna start with Teach. So the verdict came out. What do you feel? One word. I'm gonna start with Teach.
Nothing.
Beast.
Indifferent.
Mayo.
Nothing.
I
You
think
can't take my word.
Well,
See, I had to find something. I was thinking, like, that's a good one. I need to find something compared to that. What's good
I'm
with
like,
nothing?
okay. I mean, like, it's another day in America. Like this fight didn't happen. Okay, let's move.
That's
Move
what I'm
on.
saying. Indifferent. That's like it's a bittersweet type of deal. Like,
I think,
he.
yeah. I think
How
that
you
mine
feel
is,
down there?
I just say, well, with the shrug. Go ahead, Teach, real quick.
Yeah.
I think people, they're glad that they got the guilty verdict, but that's just one of thousands of cases, and that one guilty verdict does not inspire hope at all that this nation or this system, this broken system, is anywhere near being repaired, fixed, thrown away, scratched, and started from anew. So it's just like, okay, that's one that it was very anticlimactic because we're so used to receiving the worst that when we get, some semblance of justice, it's like, oh, okay. And then the next day or the next 2 days, then the nation erupts with more.
Well, and if I could get permission, I gotta change my word now. Since I was, my word would not be okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's go into opening statements, and I will start it off. Ladies and gentlemen, this opening statements will be presented by Cheddar Boy Popcorn, the only black popcorn company here in all of Washington. My opening statement goes off like this. I believe we all are on the same page with the verdict. Right after the verdict, I actually recorded, I didn't react it, but I recorded the actual the verdict on my phone. And I post on my Instagram on that day, I put in big captions saying that, I'm paraphrased, that there are a lot more Derek Chauvins that are in America right now that are doing the same exact things that he's doing, maybe even worse, and they're getting away with it. I still stick by when I say the only people that should be feeling relief and that they know justice has gotten served, even though I said that wrong, but have gotten justice, it's the Floyd family. The Floyd family is the only ones that should be celebrating, really celebrating, and rejoicing that their son husband, brother, cousin, death did not go in vain. They're the only ones. But for everybody else, this fight does not end because of what happened in the Derek Chauvin case. It does not end. And once again, I'm a boost up male. I know he's going to be on. I can see him at the bottom. He probably going to be laughing and smiling because he said this many moons ago on the show, where he said if they convict Derek Chauvin, it's just going to be them telling everybody and Black Lives Matter, y'all can stop protesting now. Everything's okay. Everything's all right. You see, justice has been served. So y'all can stop what you're doing. But not understanding and realizing this is all over America. And now we got more cases that are happening in Ohio that is happening in North Carolina. So which further proves the point that we should not be jumping up and down on a victory that is not going to change anything. The only family that should be enjoying this is the Floyd family. And with that, Mr. Beast, you on.
For my opening statement, I just want to make a plea to everybody, especially Black folk. We have to learn emotional restraint and control. And I'm speaking of the most recent tragedy with the young lady, because initially I felt like everybody else, this is bullshit. Then I saw the body cam footage, and now I'm left in deliberation on how I should actually feel about this. And the only thing that I could really wrap my head around is we need to do better with engaging in frivolous and unnecessary and unproductive emotions that put us in situations like this. You know, to go with Donnell, there are a lot of Derek Chauvins around there. I've run across one my damn self who's pulled a gun on me in front of a sheriff. And he had every intention of shooting me in front of several people in broad daylight, merely because I was trying to help him de-escalate the situation. And it was because of my emotional control that I was able to, properly handle the situation in an honest format and fashion that still has me here today. I learned that control through martial arts, but I learned that control is very vital and necessary once you achieve it, because not everything deserves an emotional response. And even if it does, it deserves a particular emotional response that can lead to some positive progression without a whole lot of negative consequence as a result. I know it sounds like I'm using a lot of big words. I'm pretty much just saying, check yourself. Ain't a whole bunch of shit worth really getting mad over. Think about it. If it ain't worth doing 3 to 5 or 5 to 12, don't do it. If you're not willing to deal with the consequence of this action, of being put in this situation, don't put yourself in that situation. Don't allow yourself to be put in that type of environment and allow yourself to become a statistic. And now people are left indifferent on how to actually feel about your tragic passing. We need to check ourselves, people. And with that, I yield the floor.
Good evening, everyone. With the turmoil that has erupted over the past week, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel. Um, if, okay, all right, I'm not going to feel, I'm going to express how I perceive Derek Chauvin's expression, his eye movement when the verdict was being read, his facial expressions. If I could read his mind was saying, I'm white. Did I didn't hear that right. Did you say I was guilty? He was in disbelief that 3 guilty charges came back, and it was almost like he said, but y'all said I was gonna get off. What it must be a mistake somewhere. Didn't we agree that I was gonna get off? If you could read his mind, these are the thoughts that was going across his mind when the verdict was being read. So his expressions lent itself totally to, I am a white man. I have privilege with impunity. I'm a police officer and I have privilege with impunity. Wait a minute, something didn't go right. So just think about what he was thinking. And I yield the floor.
Family. So my opening statement will be just pretty much similar to what Beast was saying. I'm someone who's always been proud to not be the one with the most popular, well, that follows the most popular opinion and with the media or whatever is going on out there. I try to find out what I authentically feel about or see in the situation. And my biggest concern at the state that we are in right now is that I don't think that we've learned how enough about how much the media might have been and continue to be our enemies at this. The media is trying to lead us in different directions, and that's what scares me the most. It's not um well, the police officers on the street sometimes scares me a lot too, but similar to how they scare me, I think the media is fueling systemic racism and they're keeping it going. And they love to keep it going without us looking at it. And they want us to think that, once we solve this 1 or 2 button problems, that we can go back to sleep while systemic racism will keep going on. And that's what my biggest concern is at. My biggest concern is that, the media's goal, and it's not just them, it's the white supremacy and the folks who are elected in office, both black and white establishment. A lot of, and I'm saying in generality here, there's probably like a small percentage of black folks who are elected, and maybe some good white folks who are elected. And I mean, a very small percentage that really care about fixing this and feel like they wish a lot of people will pay attention to what the matter is. The matter should not be right now about just that one situation. The matter should be about how do we prevent all these things from happening. Well, how do we start fixing this systemic issue? How do we start making it so hard for people to be afraid of the black people? I mean, we got black people afraid of black people. I mean, if you put the picture of a black man and white man in front of a kid, most likely the kids gonna say they're more scared of a black person. How do we fix that? Something that's just ingrained in a Western civilization. How do we get to the crux of the matter instead of just sitting there trying to act like we're gonna fix this 1 or 2 button issues? Another part of my opening statement is the idea and the audacity that I think that we are going to try to now say 40 years from now that the average black man are the George Floyd of them. I know that this is not popular, but outside the fact that the Derek Chauvin, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't want to learn how to pronounce names. I don't want him to be popular for killing a person that he should not kill. for killing a man that should have probably been arrested and spent a night or two in jail and go home. But the bottom line I'm trying to get at about this is that George Floyd is not the average black man. There's a lot of better brothers on the street, on our street. There's not that then they've shown characters all their life. They've not been in George Floyd's situation. And if it wasn't for Candace Owens, and I hate to agree with her on anything, but if it wasn't for her bringing out some of the things that he had done in the past, like when him and 3 other guys busted into a pregnant black woman's house and put a gun to her stomach and robbed her or whatever, and I don't know how anybody can ever forget that, in the sense of if I was part of our family, I would never forget it being black. I mean, so when all the things they've said he's done, that's not the average one of us. So when this story is told 20 or 40 years from now, I don't want it to be like, well, this cop killed this black guy, which most of the guys are getting. I don't want people to think that most of the guys that were being killed, or most of the girls are being killed, like Breonna Taylor that was sleeping at her home. I don't want them to think that they're all criminals, that they just didn't deserve to die. Because I mean, at the end of the day, Judge Floyd was dealing with a lot of evil within himself, and this guy was just a hole that took his life when he should not have taken his life because he happens to be black. So that's something I think that they use him, George Floyd, as a poster child of what black men are in America today and what we are. Everybody around the world knows who George Floyd is now, and I'm afraid they're gonna think that that's what the black man is in America, and I refuse to think that that's what we are. We are better. We know we're a lot of us are professionals. A lot of us don't have rap sheets. A lot of us are protectors of our women and all that kind of stuff. But the one that he just happened to do wrong, then when the case got so popular, is Judge Floyd. So don't make him the poster child of who black people are in America. And that's what some of the linings that nobody is talking about that I wish people could think about a little bit, like that, how this is told. When history when they tell history in the future, and they talk about this generation of black people, I hope that them tell that that's what we were, and not to say that that he deserved to die. Obviously, he does not. That's why I'm happy about what happened last night in the conviction. I just hope that when they tell the story, they tell stories of Breonna Taylor as well, Fernando Castile, folks who are doing good in their life and they were productive citizens. They got killed as well. And I yield.
All right, so let's get it with the main story. So let's get started with what's currently going on in Ohio. So apparently there has been footage that's been out there. But before I go on ahead, did anybody seen the footage? What happened in Ohio?
I have not.
I've seen the screen. If you're talking about the young lady, I've seen.
Yes.
I've seen the bystander footage, and I've seen a little bit of the body cam footage.
All right. Teach, I could send you the link of the video to you so you can see it while we talk about it. And so, thank you to Mr. Will. Thank you, Mr. Will, who's commenting. He sent the link right here, Teach. If you can have a chance to copy and paste that, I can put it in the private chat so it'd be easier for you.
Okay, well, I can't watch it during the broadcast because I am on my phone.
Yeah,
and the only thing that happen is I'll go out of the room.
Right, I got you. And, yeah. Unfortunately, I can't show it because you know how Facebook is. They're going to sit there. They're going to take us off. So to be fair, to be fair, I want to since I seen the video. Mel, what's your take?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's in my backyard, so I guess it's kind of hard. It's hard for me to not. It's actually up the street from where I live in Columbus here, so it's just weird. I mean, I like B said at the beginning of everything. Last night, what was going. I've decided in my mind I'm not going. And it's been a long time, but more for the last 2 years, I don't watch TV much at all anymore. So. And when all that stuff was going, on, I was walking with my mom 4 miles with my mom. I was in the park, So the text came in. Oh, did you hear about what happened? I'm like, okay, so that's how I found out about what goes on. Okay, sure. hopefully they can, and anybody else who kills anybody else, they get convicted, and and this keeps going on, and then we don't have to worry about them getting free, like getting let go when they kill us anymore. So I mean, that's one good case, they went the right way. Then later on, I got the text. Oh, did you hear about the black girl that got shot? And at that point, I'm like, oh, they're retaliating already. That's the text I'm getting. And I'm getting all kind of stuff about the police are retaliating. They just killed a black girl. And I'm like, wow, this is about to turn something crazy, So I'm bothered at that point. Like, wow, I can't believe that Columbus is the next, place there's going to be filled with media now. So I woke up this morning and I saw on Instagram, actually a friend of mine saw on Instagram and shot me a still shot of I saw the video last night before I went to bed. Because somebody shot me the link of the video. Then this morning, I woke up and I saw a still shot of the young lady that got shot at the moment when she got shot. Now, again, they got investigation going on, all that stuff. But when I saw that knife being cocked back, and I saw a girl in pink, like the picture you're showing the picture right now, all I'm telling y'all, and I could kill us what anybody says, because everybody is excited about the fact that it's now the whole world against police, and I'm not the biggest fan of the police. They've done the similar things to me in the sense of stop me, harass me, and almost got me arrested and just trying to pick a fight with me. Hopefully that I do something they might shoot. So, but go back to that picture real quick, if you don't mind, just stay on that picture. When I saw that picture and I see that knife and I see her cocked back like that, all I'm thinking to myself that if I was the father of that girl in pink, would I ever care if the cop that showed up was black, white, pink, yellow, whatever? And number two, would I be happy if he shot the girl in the black, or would I complain at all if she got shot? Or would all I could think is if he did not shoot the girl in black, I'm having a case with him now. How are you serving and protecting? This is a deadly weapon. I mean, the knife is a secondary weapon to the gun as a deadly weapon. And I think after that is a taser. So some people are saying tase him and all that. I won't be saying, why didn't you tase her? I would be saying, why didn't you shoot her? I'm just being honest. That was my daughter in pink.
I disagree.
No,
I disagree.
Here's the issue though, Teach, because like he's right in the sense of at that moment, and like from somebody that has experience in fight science, so it's like understanding the mind in an aggressive situation. In that frame, in that moment, everything about her body at that moment showed malicious and possible mortal intent. You at that angle, you're not going for, you can't assume beyond any form of intelligence that if they connect, this is going to be a flesh wound, or it's not going to be somewhere fatal.
What?
You have a split decision, and the officer had a split decision. No matter your skill, you have a split decision at that moment. You have two options because you have to shoot.
What?
You have to shoot them, and you can't take the risk of using a taser because tasers also have a side effect of involuntary muscle response. So even if you catch her before she does it, you still have the random occurrence that the taser could actually assist and still end up harming this child. The only logical option you have at that point is to shoot. Now, your question at that point is, do you shoot fatal or do you shoot to wound? And like at that moment, four times, that's the issue. But at least that's the issue. But at least one good time, like I said, that's it 4 times. Because at that issue, it's like, I have to shoot you. But do I shoot to kill versus just shoot to get you off that fight?
And how do you aim the leg or the arm?
Like leg. Hell, I shot it in the ass like Forrest Gump. Like for real. Like if you can't hit the shoulder, ass.
What if you miss that? What if you try to aim and you miss? What if you try to shoot the arm and leg and you miss? And then don't get put in the throat.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's.
You know something?
It's a very hard situation to define and describe.
Yeah, I'm just at this point, I have seen so much footage of police officers being shot at, stabbed with baseball bats, and all of these assailants are alive. They did not empty their clips, and it was evidence that these officers' lives were truly in peril. But somehow or another, those people still go to the office or to the police office unharmed.
But I agree with Will, by the way. But
Yeah.
And so,
To add to or kind of counter the point, because there was I have a high school friend, and this was an actual news case. He was a former former Afghanistan vet, came home, became a police officer. He answered the call, which ended up being a suicide by cop. The individual was mentally deranged. He wanted to die. He was outside just provoking whatever he could. And he initiated in an aggressive manner. And due to my homeboy's training, mind you, he's military trained as well as police trained. He didn't even realize it at the time. But unfortunately, his military training kicked in first, and he dumped the whole clip in this man. And he didn't realize he had dumped the clip into this man until his body instinctively went to reload. And the dude was dead, and the dude dropped. He put 17 in this man. And he had to go through, this was an actual case.
okay, let me ask you this. Is this girl, is she lunging at the police officer?
No, but she's lunging at it as somebody is in mortal danger. That's that's the issue. Like up until that point of actual discharging, he was doing his job and he had valid right. You see somebody in that situation, what? You got the means to deactivate. Nobody's close enough to actually disarm her. What? Yeah, he could have used a taser.
Well, and the distance between him and
situations her, when you see a weapon discharged, when somebody has a weapon out, you're more in line to balance and elevate that weaponry. So she got a knife, I got to have a gun, because hopefully that gun will at least knock some sense into him. Like, hey, you can get shot here. Fuck being stabbed.
What? I mean, I got one more thing to say. My just thing is that, again, I have to be careful and make sure I let y'all know. In my mind, maybe she was taking the knife and she was taking it from the girl and flinging it away. All I'm saying is that when I look at this picture, hear me out. If I'm looking at this picture, and this picture, and it's supposed to be like a pre action for something, all I'm thinking is that girl is coming straight forward with that knife after cocking back. And at that point, I'm thinking that it could be to the throat of the other girl, slitting her throat, stabbing her in the throat, stabbing her in the head, stabbing her in the chest. I mean, and any of those would kill, because the angle she's coming in. That's all I'm thinking.
That's what I'm saying earlier.
And
it's hard to know.
If any of that is about to happen in my eyes, if I was somebody who was a police officer, it would be to disarm that girl, and the only way you can do is by shooting her. I think if you try to with a taser, the distance between, I mean, that's at least about 6 feet off, or 7 or 8. I don't know how distance of the taser gets effective or not. I know that. Now the question about shooting her arm or shooting her legs. Now, if you miss, and now if we're gonna make fun of you about how you miss, you get back to the job and the girl get killed because you shot one time and hit the car or hit the girl that she about to stab. Then they're gonna say, "Oh, you killed the girl that was being stabbed. You shot an extra shot in her." You know what I mean? If you miss, try to shoot her arm or something. So all those things are out there. If I was him, I'll go for the whatever they call the sensor, whatever when they I think you probably know that, Don. I mean, what the sensor?
Unfortunately, it's the torso.
The mask, whatever. So you gotta go for that. The last piece I want to mention is that out of all this shot that I saw yesterday, the most disappointing, and I know I'm in Ohio, I ran for office, and this people might be potential voters if I was to ever run again, but I am more disappointed in nothing else than everybody in that yard, because there was probably about 10 people in that yard with video cameras and all that stuff before the cops got there. And we keep allowing this violence to happen within our community. And,
I'm disappointed in the adults.
We just don't say nothing about the fact that there's grown people out there watching this girls fight. The guy that's to the right of the video was kicking somebody in the head when that guy was shooting. There's just a young lady that was on the floor that guy was kicking in the head. And I thought it was him that the cop was gonna shoot. When the cop stopped and drew the gun, I thought it was the guy that he was gonna shoot, but he drew the gun and shot the girl. But the guy that was standing right to the right, he was, I don't know if it was him or maybe in the video though. When you see the video, right before he shoots, you will see that guy and the girl on the floor, flung to the floor. You will see the guy kicking the girl in the head. And I'm like, this is what people think about our community. We keep violence on ourselves, inflicting harm on ourselves, and we gotta eradicate that. We can't act like we don't see that shit. I mean, excuse me, language. I mean, excuse me, and I'm mad. I'm just upset because we gotta stop acting like we don't see that. I'm tired of that.
Right. Go ahead, teacher. I knew you had a point that you wanted to say. Floor is yours.
Okay.
She said,
No, I go back to my original point. We do have problems within our community. Raise a banner, move a movement, and get that done. Don't bring it in on other issues. So, my thing is this: I have seen footage where officers are in imminent danger and people live. That's all. People live. And for the fact that he emptied his clip, that's what they've been doing. So I'm saying for the camouflage, don't be swayed or feel self-conscious. Because just as this happens in the African American community, it happens in the Caucasian community, it happens in the Latino community. But I'm gonna tell you the difference.
Black cop shooting
They
white
don't
man.
play it. They don't play it as much. But it's not happening in lesser numbers or non-existent. It happens all the time. But they play ours and they highlight ours. So it looks like it's more prominent. It looks like it's more of a problem. It looks like it's a black problem. It's a people problem. It is a people problem. But if the blinders are put up and all you see is the blacks, you think, oh, wow, blacks just wilding out. They just having problems, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes, if you just simply change the channel, you'll see a different people doing the same goddamn things. You cannot feel less of a people. You cannot allow them to make you feel less. Because we have a problem. Name one race in the world that is perfect and does not have problems. Even your Christian Bible to say all have sinned. It didn't say all the black folks have sinned. It said all and have fallen short of the glory. We cannot demonize ourselves. I do not accept that demonization. Now, my question is, why were the two people fighting? I don't know if it was a girl and a girl and a girl and a guy or a girl. Well, I guess it was two people. Why were they fighting? Why did the girl with the knife call the police? Did she call the police and say, I didn't hear you?
I say my question is like, how did the knife even come into like we were saying, like May was saying earlier about all those people? I'm disappointed in the adults. There was that many damn adults out there, and y'all allowed two girls to not only fight but escalate to the point of weaponry, and then escalate to the point of the police being called in. Y'all some sorry ass adults.
So from the report, the girl in the black shirt actually called the police. The one that got killed actually called the police. And that's what's weird about the whole thing. And from what I just read here right now is that the guy that was kicking the girl, there was more than two that was fighting. The guy that was kicking the girl that was on the floor, that he was actually one of the people that is the instructors in the group home, so to speak. But and my thing is,
oh, this is a group home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's
yeah.
now okay.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Personal
I was gonna
experience,
jump.
that makes a lot more sense.
This now. I'm gonna jump in. So me as a host, I gotta bring everything together. So, I understand. Me and Mel, we actually called before the show. We actually had our little talks about it. But I'm gonna tie this in because Teach made many valid points as well as Mayo, as well as Beast. So this is what I seen at the video. So seeing the video, it was very obviously, yes, it was very disturbing. When you see, I think people are pointing at the fact that, as you can see with the what I have here, the article at the picture, it's the knife part. People are looking at that. My counter to everybody saying, well, she has a lethal weapon, you use a gun. Here's my thing. You got the police officer got so many devices on their freaking on their belt. Okay, the nightstick, it's gonna take time for the nightstick, take the nightstick out. But you got a taser. That if anybody saw that viral video of that police officer calling out that female officer that shot that one kid because she said taser, and she had her M9,
right.
and she had her M9, and the officer was like, "How in the world you get that mixed up?" And people will say, then if he's gonna sit there, gonna use a gun, use his M9. I'm sorry, military term. Use his M9 rather than get the taser, because I know the taser goes out very far beyond. I know that for a fact. I watch a lot of bounty hunter shows on the YouTube, and those tasers go as far as 6 feet. So it could have reached. I think if he would have already had that in his hand, it would have been too easy for him to shoot it, and this girl would have been alive. Then I would have said, okay, that officer used the right judgment for him to do that. But then also I can look on the other side and say that this girl had a knife and another life was at stake, which also goes back to what Cheech was saying. What was the fight about? And then come to find out that the girl was the one that actually made the call. And I always been a proponent of, yes, we need to take responsibility for what goes on in our community. But then we have on the blinders, which I said on the show repeatedly, we put on the blinders to the point where we're not understanding that everybody else go through the same problems like we do. The Latinos go through it. The Jews go through it. White people go through it. The Indians, because I didn't realize I live around a lot of reservations here. They go through it too, But we shouldn't just wrap it around us. Like when other people do it, we see it, we like, But then when it happens to us, it's like we get 10 times more criticized within our own community because we're doing it to ourselves. We got this happening and and not understanding we still live in a system of white supremacy, which with all the things that we see every day, everything that's done to us is kind of like prison rules. We get institutionalized up to our surroundings, but not realizing everybody else is going through the same thing too as well. I still feel that I'm still like caught down the middle on this.
Same.
I think we really don't even have to feel one way or the other. Actually, because none of us are actually in a jurisdiction. If a case is brought, ain't none of us in this jurisdiction to even be a juror. We're on the sideline. Well, Mayo, you are, but but even you hosting, being on this show, talking about a recuse you as a juror.
That takes me up. This might be the reason why the guy don't get convicted. Mayo was not sitting on a jury that night. I mean, have a show about it.
but see, it's so many but there's so many layers to
Let me
this
jump in.
that
I had my hands up real quick,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. I don't want to forget
go
the point I'm
ahead.
trying to make. And my biggest thing is that we have to be careful. I mean, and that's what you try to stop somebody in front of police. My thing is that we cannot have it both ways. Trust me, anybody can. I am not afraid at this point to step out of a little pound thing again because I'm black. I want to make sure like we need to stop at some point. We know that since the day that we've ever remember, we've been treated like the worst. We until today we're still the one that's been kicked around the world and by every other race. We know that racism is going around the world, and when we are the ones that's been oppressed, we get that whole thing. At some point, I don't want us to overplay to the point where it's kind of like, well, those black folks, it can be anything. Black folks won't go, they already been saying that the race card, this, that, and I want to make sure again that I'm not one that overplays this thing when it's not valid. To some level, we can't tell me that, oh yeah, like, well, in every community, little girls they jump each other in every community, or it happens to every community. Well, somebody would say to you like there's some white folks today who would say, "Oh, that police brutality and killing it happens in every community too." The white folks shoot, the white cops shoot. I mean, like this, of course, it's not true because but I'm saying that it's not true, and really, it's not true from our perspective. If you look at the perspective of the guys who are watching the Fox, or most of them, the guys who are doing that, or the guys who are sending money to defend funds of these cops, whatever. They feel like these black folks just complain too much because it happens. Police brutality happens to everybody. Police sometimes get crazy and they do things to everybody. That's their perspective. It happens everywhere. Because we just say now that black folks jumping each other. Oh, it happens to everybody. So let's make a big deal out of it because it happens to everybody. No, when I tune in World Star Hip Hop, I don't see other white kids doing that. I mean, maybe 10% of the videos. I don't. It's our kids that I see the most. Jumping each other on walls and they're shooting and they're excited about. And we've had a show about this, or we've had a show where I've complained about this. I mean, we're the ones videotaping our youth doing that, and we cannot keep justifying something that's wrong with it. Oh, it happens to all communities. It's not just ours.
My statement was not a justification. My statement was that we should not feel overly embarrassed as if it's something that came from Mars. That's my statement.
I mean, violence is everywhere around the world, but the sense of how I think it's almost, it's not a culture, obviously, but it's a new. It's kind of like the new when kids do the all the what do you call this app that the kids be doing,
new dances and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new thing
Trends.
That's cool. Yes, it's a new thing that's cool. Let's jump somebody, put them on, and I mean, and again, it's often the youth, and it's not like it's something that's great because we're black. I'm not saying that. I'm not agreeing to that because some white folks probably believe that. But I'm saying that it's a problem that we have more than anybody else. Because if it's not one that we have more than anybody else, maybe at least it's one that the problem that we have is that our kids choose to shoot theirs and put it in their phone and put it on World Star Hip Hop. It's either that, or maybe like we're doing it more than anybody else. Because again, when I look at I didn't used to look at it, but I'm in a group of a lot of my college football teammates and all this stuff, and they relished in that World Star Hip Hop stuff. And I used to go off on them whenever I saw the video, like, why y'all even putting a bit of violence? Why is it everybody that has a picture of Scarface in their homes? I mean, is it every race that does that? We celebrate Scarface. That's our movie. I mean, Beast, what I mean, when you walked into the house, a poster of Scarface in the room. I mean, those things are things that we know that we see mostly. And I'm saying when we see those things, we're celebrating violence. We need to start thinking about how, as a community leaders, and talk to our pastors, whatever we need to stop pushing our kids away from violence. There's nothing good about that, and we need to stop pushing because this is what started this. It's violence on each other, and we cannot pretend like we don't see it.
I agree. We need to be more, proactive in the sense of unnecessary violence. But you can't really quelch any kind of violent tendencies, but for so long. But the easiest way to get folk to really calm themselves down is when they understand when you're in that situation, this is how you look. So this is how you will be perceived, no matter no matter what's going on, no matter what happened before, after, in the midst of it. If somebody randomly walked in on your ass in the midst of this, this is what they're going to see. This is how they're going to perceive it. And this is most likely how they're going to act. Like I said, when I grew up, I grew up in a really hood neighborhood, and I had to fight out all my friends. Pretty much typical black neighborhoods in the 80s.
So what?
My dad put me in martial arts.
You said typical.
Yeah. But see, the whole thing was like he got me to understand. My sensei had me read this article and actually showed me the case. And it was a case in the early 90s of a white man that got into a defensive karate stance. And the cop just flat out shot his ass because he felt threatened. And it was deemed at that point that, you know, anybody that took martial arts, once you got a black belt, you had to register your hands, and you knew and were trained. And, it was, because in the police eye, anybody that had any type of training that could inflict mortal, fatal injuries on the person, you assume that they were always going to go for that no matter what the situation was. If they were in an aggressive manner, and this person, like Mike Tyson, perfect example. Everybody know Mike Tyson strong enough to knock anybody out in a one-hit quitter. So if you see Mike Tyson or somebody as strong as Mike Tyson in an aggressive situation, and he getting violent, or let alone he got a weapon too, yeah, you might have to take that call, and you'd be well liable for it, because the perception is this violent and this skillfully violent man was in an emotionally aggressive manner and state, and with his additional training and instinct from the training, he could easily have killed not just one person but multiple people.
All right. I'm gonna have to step on in. We're at the top of the hour, or a little over the top of the hour. We're gonna take a commercial break. We're gonna talk more, because y'all leading into the part that I really want to touch on. The police and black people. What is the actual problems? That we need to dive into much more when we come back. And just like that, we are back. So let me get Mail back on up in here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to shift gears and talk more about what is the problem, because I believe that with us starting off, what happened in Ohio is really getting us to what is the problem. We understand that there's a lot of police officers like Derek Chauvin. So on the police side, for this sheriff, what he has did, for like I said, for all of us, we got different opinions about this. You know, we standing on our truths. But knock on wood, how can the police get it right and try to, you know, correct the wrongs of what's been going on in the past? And then you got to look at it on our side, like what Mayo was saying, like we also had to take responsibility for what we do. And then you got Teach, her side is also saying, well, it's happened with other communities as well, but for some reason they just targeting us. Like I can use an example of what's been going on with the Asian hate. You don't hear any All Lives Matter crowd going after them. You don't hear any like, you know, all lives matter going on Fox News, going on CNN. You'll hear QAnon throwing anything back at them. So it just add more questions that needs to be talked about and solutions that need to be found. So hopefully I didn't jumble that up way too much, but what do you,
when you get a chance, good. I'll answer.
Yeah. So what is the actual problems? Because dialogue is not working. Having officers go to black churches and telling them, you know, we're sorry. What do we need to do to make things better? And then you got us who is telling them what is going on. This is what your officer's doing. And it seems like it's all going on deaf ears, or we having the wrong people asking for us, representing us, that's not asking the right question. So it could go either way. So floor is open.
So real quick, I want, because you were describing what we were all saying. I want to make sure I make it clear what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm not on the, it is on us, it's our fault type deal. It is part of what I'm saying, that, you know, that I think that it's not our fault, but we need to make sure that we can prevent this kind of situations in general. You know, like what teacher saying that, you know, like you should say it not, well, at least from what I got the first time she responded, you should say it not when these is going on, say when it's on its own. Like, you know, when you see, when, like, don't say while this is going on, separate the two. And I'm like, well, it's kind of hard to separate the two, because what started the whole call was some black girls being jumped by another black girl, whatever, you know, the black, you know, them young black girls fighting. Now, is it our race the only ones that fight, that do violent? I don't think so. I don't think that. I know it's not true. We're not the only ones that fight. Violence is not only in our we're not the only one that has violence in some of our interaction. I don't want to say culture, in our interactions as a people. As a matter of fact, is the problem, to answer your question, is poverty. To be honest with you, there's no, you got enough good job and everything. You're not, you know, your kids are out there most likely doing it. And then on the other side, you find most of the time when this happened in the white community, is the kids that got good, like, money, they eating good at home, they get bored, and they're the ones going out, you know, like killing people, like, you know, with guns, whatever, you know. So it's different. They have issues of violence in their community, but it's done in a different way. Like somebody going into the supermarket shooting everybody. If you hear that, I can give you out scenarios right now. When I give you out scenarios, you can be like, oh, that's a white person. I give you an incident, that's a black person. Like the scenario, somebody going to the supermarket shooting somebody. Real quick, even though we might be wrong, the first thing that will come to our mind is that's a young white guy.
That's that white people shit.
Right. If I give you a scenario of somebody being jumped by in a school, in a high school, somebody being jumped and they kicking that person on the floor, and somebody picked up the chair and they hit somebody in the head, or something like, you know, like a weapon is being brought to the school, whatever. Real quick, you think
that's
about
a free for all, honestly. No, honestly, that's a free. You said high school violence at that level. Honestly, that's a free for all.
Maybe on the way home, they walking home from school or something, you know, and there's a group of kids, you know, I ain't giving no color, kids that jumped on another one, and they were stumping that one. You know, I mean, we see enough to know what we've seen, and my thing is that I don't care the idea of, oh, everybody does it. I want to solve our problems. I want to focus on our, you know, I don't care if everybody does it, whatever, you know, and I want to solve our problem. I don't want it to be justification when anybody, maybe that's not right. Well, I feel it's justification. I don't want us to bring that up when somebody tells us, hey, y'all killing each other. Well, y'all killing us too. No, I want to solve both problems. The cops killing us and us killing, or not killing us, but us being super violent and celebrating violence. And it's from poverty. I know I'm kind of not answering your question. The biggest part of answering your question is from poverty. Most of you don't see in the communities where, even in our communities, and where you don't see the sons and daughters of our elected officials or the biggest business folks. You don't see them doing it. It's the ones that we're supposed to be the talented 10 is supposed to go into college, come back and saving our community. It's those communities that's happening that. So essentially, I feel like we're failing them. And we can't go back and make sure that they get that. I don't know if it's whatever it is, education, better income, whatever. We failed them, is what I'm saying. We failed them. I don't think it's anybody else's work, but it's our job to do it. Now, the part about the cops killing us, the part about the cops killing us is definitely what happened last night. Well, in the sense of what the court that showed everything. Like, a black man being killed because he $20, whatever. Of course, we see that. It's obvious that white folks are wrongly killing us. I'm not saying that anything justified that. I'm just saying let's clean up our house too. That's all I'm saying.
But I will rebut that with saying clean up our house, but I can't clean up my house when you're killing us, and then finding out that your house is dirty too. So I think it goes back to what Teach was saying. When you say go clean up our house when we got one of our own dead. It's basically saying it's a justification for them just to do it because look at y'all animals, y'all ruthless, y'all go on the streets and you do all these things. So why in the world should I be the one, y'all coming at me for killing somebody who's coming from your dirty house, your nasty house, acting like an animal? You telling me that I killed this person? I actually did the world a favor.
Yeah. Well, Donnell, that comes with my point. I was going to say that it really boils down to the perceptive image of who you are and who we are. As Southern folk will say, the picture you paint. How everything about you is perceived to other people on the outside. When you just out in the world doing what you do, nobody knows who the fuck you are. So how you build, how you look, how you carry yourself, everything about you is perceived usually nowhere near close to who you really are. Very few people have a true discerning spirit and character about themselves to really get a feel of a random person just by how they carry themselves. But most people, if you're acting like an ass at that moment, they just going to assume you're an asshole, not knowing that you might be justified or just might be having a bad day.
Yeah, and they don't know. Yeah, and you round that. Yeah, you round that.
Yeah, we got to understand that. We got
and then also that saying that I always hate, which what you're saying is your perception is my reality. That was
not
necessarily. I mean, that's kind of the lines of that, because I could be a happy-go-lucky person because there are times where I literally had my supervisor literally told me, and this is when I was in the military, when I work along somebody, I don't want them to feel like you have to be business casual as usual. I want to make them feel comfortable, put a smile on their face, And I literally had my supervisor pull me to the side, and she was like, Morris, I'm going to tell you this one time. Her perception is your reality. I didn't understand what she meant. And then it dawned on me, she's trying to say that with me being a happy-go-lucky person I am, that I'm not business oriented, that I don't take my job seriously, and all this stuff, where it should have been the person that's working alongside me to be like, hey, let's, I know you're trying to lighten up the mood, but I'm gonna need you to be more on the business side. She could have said that. but it was the perception of my supervisor, who was thinking that she was talking for the person that I was working with, who was higher ranking than me, by the way, that she was seeing that of me. And this is where the problems that we have in society that I see is that perception. And so we have to get to the point where, yes, I mean, everybody, like,
we have to learn how to acknowledge it.
Right.
We have to learn how to acknowledge it and how it perceives itself to us individually, so that we can better maneuver. Because there's nothing I can do about the fact that I am this dark with dreadlocks and my voice sounds like Barry White is my father, or at least my uncle.
Right. And
so if I get loud and aggressive, I know how I look. Like, that's one of the reasons why I go out of my way to really explain myself and carry myself in a kind of monotone, emotionless manner. Because if I get loud or have to increase the volume in my voice, it's automatically perceived as intimidating,
the angry black man, or
aggressive.
Right. Or if Cheech was, had something to say, her voice is risen, she get the perception of the angry black woman. But if somebody else of a different race does the same exact thing, then it's just.
But it's more than that. It's just that it pertains to your race. Like I said, it's more than just your race. It's like I said, it's everything about you, how you carry yourself, how you actually speak. Like the way most people's perception of me that know me, because of the way I carry myself and everything, is I'm a eccentric but cool dude. Kind of got a violent streak. So overall, I'm just a weird guy, but I'm cool. That's what most people perceive about me, because of the way I carry myself and how I interact with folk.
Go ahead,
just in a situation.
Let's cut to the chase and remember historically the perception that was created for the enslaved African that continued when they became contraband, that continued when they became freed men and women, that continued when they became Negroes, that continued when they became Afro-American, that continued when they become African-American. It was manufactured. The perception of who you are and what you are and all of these labels was manufactured to create that hysteria in the white race. They actually had psychologists, quote unquote, of the day create annuals of books to teach them about the rough, crude nature of this beast we brought from Africa. So let's wake up and realize this has gone on since the European encountered Africa. They had to develop an evil psychology that would support their demonology and inhumanity to their fellow man called the enslaved African. Let's not throw out history. Let's remember history. Let's go back to Charles Darwin and his theories and really read those theories of what they meant and how they took and created a whole pseudoscience based upon what they created as superiority. This is not haphazard. It did not start in 2021. It started back in 1452 when they first encountered the African. And beast, because you know this, you attempt to modify your natural self to accommodate them.
I won't say that. Well, I won't say that, me personally. I acknowledge it and I see it and I just use it as a maneuvering tool. I don't alter myself in any means. Actually, I go out of my way to use my language, fuck with that perception.
You know, they talk about the whole image of the angry black woman. And I find myself in this humanity. God gave me that emotion and I am free to use it. And if you don't like
That's
it,
what I
that's
said.
your business. I don't have to feel like I have to hold back what I feel. I feel it because God gave it to me. See, this is the psychological game that they play. Oh, the angry black woman. Oh, the overly aggressive black man. So you have to stifle yourself. I just had a home lesson, and that I wish everybody would indulge in, maybe just for a week. But for a couple of weeks, I was thoroughly indulged in watching Chinese movies with the subtitles.
Those
Series after series, movie after movie, I learned a lot about at least the the Mandarin culture, because that was the language they were speaking and so forth and so on. But scene after scene, I learned something about them. And you all know that I watch a lot of African movies, specifically Nigerian movies. And then we brought up in this culture, we watch a lot of European movies. So I was able to compare the three cultures. And this is broad. But one of the things that I noticed, and I'll begin with the Chinese movies, is that they portray themselves as very disciplined. If a man was angry, you could barely tell it. If they were sad, you still couldn't tell it. And I said, well, wow, do these people have any emotions? And then I watched the Nigerian films. And my God, it's a burst and an overflow of emotions, whether it's happy, sad, grieving, whatever. It's over the top emotional. Okay? And then you watch the European movies and it's sort of lukewarm. But all the points the point that I'm making is that each race is made uniquely different. And they share attributes, and some attributes are just totally different.
So,
and the
restraint,
the restraint and the discipline that the Chinese had is like, is it real? I mean, seriously, you just watch your brother die and you just go off to the, let's drink and be merry. Just no emotions for the situation. But then you get to the Nigerians and somebody die, everybody lose it. Everybody wailing and crying and going and carrying on. We're distinctively different. That's the way God made us. We don't have to feel ashamed. We do not have to feel ashamed of the way God made us. Now, I'm gonna answer the question that you asked. What do we need to do? It's a real simple answer. The police officers need to do their job and strive for excellence and stop messing around with the fuckery. The community, each person in the community need to stand up and shake themselves, get with themselves. If they're prone to be in this violent situation, they need to take stock of their lives and make some changes. The responsibility goes both ways. And it's not even complicated. It's not even complicated. If you're a racist cop and you know that you have biases, You need to come clean and say, you know what? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt as I've given other people the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to just be on fuckery just because I know I have impunity.
Yeah, and you basically just asked my question I was going to bring to the floor. I was like, so where does the problem lie? Is it with us or is it with the police? And I believe that you answered that for me because
The base problem has always been the police.
Yeah,
They were former slave catchers.
Yeah,
like T says, it's historically built and based.
All right.
Well,
Go ahead, man.
That's kind of what I said. I mean, I said it's kind of on two ends. It's both sides, and I feel like to some level, and today we have two problems. The one that often is one that's dominant, which is the police killing us, and it does it most of the time. So this case is just isolated. I don't think this compares to Breonna Taylor. This doesn't compare to George Floyd. I mean, like this is the one that I think is a toss-up. I mean, like I keep saying, if I'm the father that going pink, even though I'm now hearing that they're the ones that's jumping to going black, of course, of all the priesthood at this moment, would I really care for the going black to maybe shot to taser her or whatever? Because I mean, if you don't do anything where you can knock her down, that knife, I'm thinking they can come to the throat of the one girl. I'll be like, if you don't shoot the girl, you're not protecting the servant. So I mean, so the question is, when you put 4 clips in her, that's a whole different thing. So I mean, I think that if we had the issue of qualified immunity, which is one of the things they've been talking about, it could have been the toss-up cases where those things supposed to come up. I think they're supposed to go into trial really most of the time. Then maybe take that into consideration. It should not be something that is, and I'm glad it's not. We saw stuff like what happened yesterday with the guy Derek, whatever is not. He didn't get covered by qualified immunity. But my point in general is just to say that it's a two-side thing. The whole and I heard teachers acknowledge everything she said. I agree with the last part of it, which is because she was saying is that it's something that we need to both sides need to be done. Meaning we need to take care of our own and also need to make sure that we stop them from killing us. But on the front end of the whole thing about emotions or not, I don't think. I mean, does that make me less black because I don't get super excited? No. I mean, I'm very emotional, but my emotion does not have to lead me into acting stupid. I don't have to fight after I feel emotion. I mean, emotion is one thing. I remember, and this is my last thing about this. I remember when I, was in a relationship, but pretty much one of the things I get into when I start talking to a young lady is like, I kind of like talk about the whole idea of being jealous, and this is just, and I say this to every woman I've ever dated before, in the line of work that I'm in, that the last thing, if the day that we probably last stop seeing each other is the day you act out in public, because my thing is that I don't mind you being jealous. As a matter of fact, I would appreciate you if you not appreciate. I would be like, dang, it would hit me in the heart some kind of way that she cares enough that she's jealous about the possibility that somebody else might have me. If she's mine, whatever. Man, it would not celebrate it, but I'll kind of be I'll be okay with it. Now, what I would not like is if your reaction or your action of that jealousy is one that is negative. You have the right to control your own action. You can fix that by talking to me, which is one, or you can fix it by doing something different. We might be, because you don't really know how true that is or not. I mean, in different situations. Hope I get what I'm saying. So again, it's I don't mind emotions. It's your action of your emotions that I mind. If it's negative or positive, because you can have an adverse action, or you can have a action that is more calm and more sensible. Like, let's talk about this. Let's find out what's going on. So and that's my whole thing about the emotional. Yeah, we are emotional beings, but I don't want to excuse at all anything that we know that. And to what you were saying earlier, Donnell, when you talk about, you were saying that because they were killing us, the whole having to clean your own yard and now I was talking about we need to not our laundry or not. You're talking about the dirty stuff that we do and the dirty stuff that they do, right? And you were saying you started your whole thing of saying that you would have it easier if they stopped doing their dirt. You have it easier for us to talk about doing our, stop doing our dirt. My response is that I don't care and I care if they stop doing this, but them stopping doing what they're doing should not stop us from killing our home. That's what I'm saying. Like if they keep killing us or not, which I hope they stop, that should not stop us from stopping us from killing us. You know, if we know we got a small problem that maybe everybody has in their own different communities, I want to fix our problem just because I love us. I don't. It doesn't matter to me because everybody's doing it. Oh, okay. Let's keep killing everybody because everybody doing it. So it's just not doing anything. I'm saying let's focus on trying to find a way to fix both. It seems like the media is often getting us to feel like we need to just focus on one, and one has something to do with the other. It doesn't have anything to do with each other. Let's fix what's problem. I don't want to see violence inflicted on black people. Period. I don't care where it's coming from. That's what I'm saying.
But I do have to introduce our next sponsor real quick. Sky Zone Society is going to sponsor the second half of the show. Hold on, real quick. We like they got friends with Sky Zone Society. They got all your needs from candles, from clothing, from
speaking of candles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy,
speaking of candles.
Oh yeah,
yeah, got that Xbox secured. I ain't even got the Xbox right now, but it smell like it. But my house smell like it.
Got the Xbox smell and the PlayStation
like Xbox,
and then also the PlayStation smell.
It confuses people.
Sky Zone Society. The code, not the code, but the website is down at the bottom. So let me jump on into to the conversation. So when I hear all this, I think of the abused dog, analogy. Abuser, the abused dog, the aggressive dog, and then the person, the people, the victim. And people look at the dog. In this case, the police officer, the situation that just happened, another black man or a black woman being killed. And people don't want to go and see what led up to this situation. What happened? Which, talking about the body cam footage, like I got to commend the Columbus police for putting out the video as quickly as they did, because you also got to think about it. You got other police departments that take about a week or a week and a half, maybe months.
Let's keep it real. You talk about the political ploys of Derek Chauvin, and when Teach made that comment about how he looked, it just made me think about that old movie Sheep Devil with Roseanne Barr and how her husband looked when he realized that movie I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's like, hold on, you told me you told me 8. You told me I be good 8. Yeah. Okay, I see you 18 months. You ain't come. Yeah. Like that's how he was. That's how he felt inside.
Yeah. And it took how long did it take for that video to come out? Like 3 months or something like that for it to.
It's like they'd have known better. Like if this happened literally the same day of the verdict, and it is so at least from a political ploy, you be fucking stupid not to immediately, expeditiously, as T.I. would say, release that footage.
Right.
Yeah. And to let it be tried in public opinion.
Look, no. To go ahead and take your public opinion liability out of the equation. They'll go ahead and let it be known publicly that, hey, because there's a lot of legal red tape in a lot of areas with the body cam footage as far as the amount of time where it can become public. So for them to do that takes a lot of that quote unquote red tape out of the equation that does actually happen in some areas. It has happened in my area a time or two when they first initiated. So that does show publicly you doing your job. You definitely coming off as far as the whole department, very unbiased.
which brings up that point where people say, you know, we do a knee-jerk reaction. And now you see the reason why black folks have that knee-jerk reaction. Not only just black folks, but people that also support the police too. Well, if they will comply, and black people say, well, what else freaking happened? Did it really have to lead to a person losing their life? And the abuser, the owner of the dog is the system, it's a department that just want to hold on to that footage, to that body cam, which also is going to give us a suspect like this officer was wrong. That he done something, and now you're going to hold on to this video for 2 to 3 months. If we didn't know any better, you probably could have held that for a year. And this case would have been what, a cold case, basically. Nobody touched it, nobody even saying nothing about it, and just pretend and just sweep it under the rug. My assessment is, where does the problem really lie? I don't think it should be just one problem. It's somebody on the other side who's having the problem. And it looks more to me that is not us. I'm be straight up. Yes, we have issues. Yes, we do need to stop killing each other. But what is that an excuse for the police when they pull us over? Going back to what Beast is saying, you know, you don't know me from a can of paint. You know, I could have a good paying job, me in the military. We already saw what happened to that officer, the Army officer. He was in uniform, hands out, everything, while I'm getting pulled over, and he's still getting sprayed on like he just a cattle. Or, yeah, you just another nigga to me. I could care less you in uniform. So where does I think that's the question. Where does the problem really lies? That shouldn't be an excuse because I'm black, and what you see in movies, what you see on World Star Hip Hop, what you see on CNN, what you see on BET, what you see in Tyler Perry movies, you think I'm that. But that's not the case. But then
you mixing two things together, though. You're mixing two things together. But go ahead.
Well, that's not mixing two things together. The point is
the core issue, and the core issue that he's speaking of when we say the problem, the core issue, and it's sad to say, is the structure and entity that is the police. No matter how you look. Like the problem itself is the police, and it's because of how they were founded and structured. History will clearly show you that from a racial aspect, all forms of police in westernized United States from its formation to now have always been under racially motivated and prejudicial mindsets.
What
has always been the case historically for any form of police, whether it be Rangers, even in the beginning with and they started with a lot of Army recruits after war. Militias as well. But it was always pretty much strong, fighting, good old boys that only fought with good old boys. And if you don't look like a good old boy, then you are the enemy. And now you're in the structure, and I don't think they honestly understood what they meant when they said we'll be a melting pot and we'll be a land for everybody. You know, it sounded good in the beginning. It sounded like this will help the niggas get off our case, not realizing that there was going to be a multitude of different shades and hues of other niggas from different planes and societies coming in after the fact, like a floodgate. If they really thought that a literal kaleidoscope of crayons would be on this land and they would actually outweigh the whites that set it up, I don't think they would have ran with it the way that they did. They're definitely really increasing more shit. So that we really gotta reformat and restructure, just redo the entire police system because it was built on faulty land. It was built with a faulty seed and faulty land. It birthed a faulty ass tree. We need to uproot that son bitch, burn it to the ground, treat the land like Chernobyl, find new soil, new seeds, and grow a new structure for this new nation, because that is what's needed right now.
Well, you gotta remember, police did not kill Ahmaud Arbery. So the problem is racism, and it is racism that's being fueled by the media and also on both sides, really.
But this was happening long before the media.
I know, but I'm just saying today, as of today, right now, it's like you said, it started a whole lot long ago, but today it's going to be hard to solve the problem with everybody just letting the media get away with what they're doing. They're like once pouring gas and everybody's fire and getting things going. But I just want to make sure the question you're asking is direct. Are you saying what is the problem, or what's going to solve the problem with police on black people, or this particular situation that happened in Ohio? Or, I mean, because
I'm talking. No, because what I said was in general. I didn't mention anything about Ohio. I was talking. Because in general, who has the problem? When I go in my car and I drive.
I guess the better question is, who has the core of the problem? Does the core of the problem?
I don't see it as the core of the problem. It's just the problem. It's just like if I have animosity for somebody, is that going to affect my day? If I have a beef with you, Beast, me and you don't like each other, why am I gonna go out my way to try to get at you when I should just avoid you at all costs? Or at least we can come to a solution on why I have a problem with you. Like, dog, let's talk, let's sit this out. But if we can't do that, then I should try to avoid you, or you should try to avoid me at all costs. But
I just go. I wouldn't even put the energy to avoid you when you in situations like that. It's just y'all agree to, I make a conscious effort to live my life as if you didn't exist, and hopefully the energies that we do will repel each other, so that we physically don't have to really see each other.
And that's my point. When I drive on the street, or if I'm walking as a police officer sitting down, or he drives by me, he should not have a problem with me because, oh my goodness, that's a black guy, and I'm, let me say, in a Rolls Royce, and now he's going to tail my ass everywhere I go. Or if I'm walking down the street in a nice suit and a nice outfit, going to the bar, chilling with my friends, where I don't see him creeping or him walking towards me or trying to pretend I don't see him harassing me. So where does the problem really lies?
I'm trying to get the clarity of your question. Is what I'm saying. I get the top part of the bottom.
Who has the problem?
But in what situation? Because I mean, who has problem?
And generally dealing with, and generally co-mingling. Who is the true issue?
So, but what I'm saying,
and coexisting in this society and actually working and interacting with each other as entities of blacks in America and as the police, American police.
So that's what I was trying to get. You said who has a problem with the police and community issue? I mean, because I'm when you say who has a problem, I'm like, are you talking about problem with poverty? Problem? I mean, I know we were talking about the police and community frame of picture, but again, I don't think this particular case in Columbus is a police and community issue. So he said,
I said in general. I said in general. I said in general.
But what I'm saying is that's what led us to the conversation. So I was still trying to find out where the question is coming. Like, who has a problem in what in police and community? Of course, it's the police. I mean, this was
Mayo. At this point, we've established the problem. Now we're looking for the solution, and the only way to truly get to a solution, especially from a point like this, is to speak in a very general sense. Like we're speaking is this situation and everything that's happened before. How do we move forward from these situations? How do we handle ourselves and cohabitate from both aspects? Like who's really got the fucking issue? Like who really feeling some kind of way?
Right.
Because it's looking like it's y'all, but it could be really us. But it's looking like it's y'all.
Because obviously after this verdict, all this chaos continues to happen. Like, just a verdict. We still got going on, and we still got a lot of Derek Chauvin still out there, still doing these things, getting away with it. So the dialogue shouldn't be like, police officers saying, what should we do? Black people or whoever is representing them, representation is everything, should be asking the police, what problem do you have with us? If you are actually protecting and serving the community, what in the fear in your hearts when we call you, hey, we got an issue, we got a problem, and you are already on freaking high alert, like you going through the fields of freaking Afghanistan, like you are expected to get attacked on, where you could just easily just pull up, knock on the door.
I don't think it's just the police. I think that part of it is the way society has become. If you today something was going on with you, hear me out. If somebody banging your door today, you don't know who they are, and they got an AK and so white or black, they got an AK in front of the house. You don't know who they are. Who you gonna call? You're not gonna call. And the whole thing, you're not gonna call like some other agency. And to the people who are saying that, oh, he should have not shot the one girl. And I just have to go back to that. What you want to use, like, is Ninja Star to hit on her head? I mean, okay. I mean, to some level, we gotta. I mean, I just wanted to stop and put some in the box. The ones that we've seen, like George Floyd, the military guy, those are very easy to tell that something race. I mean, if you can separate and say that, I think this is not going to happen to a white person. If it was a white person that's there, we can see those ones very separate. So there's some of them that are just a toss up, like the one. So I'm just saying you can't jump them all together. Is what I'm trying to say. There's some of these issues that we've seen on TV. I won't say some. I should say a few of them. They should be separated from the majority of what we see, and that's what I'm saying. So if you jump them together, then I can start breaking each one of them down, saying that one the police has a problem. Majority of them police has a problem. You're supposed to come there and come keep peace. I mean, and people are dying. I mean, then you look at the white guy. You look at the white guy who drove a police officer down the street, and nothing happened to him. So that's kind of like a contrast. Like, oh, he can do that and not get killed. And shit, black men, they can't even move their arm. When they get stopped, they gotta put their hands on the steering wheel or have their hands outside. I mean, they gotta really be on edge. You know what I mean? So that's another separate issue that we keep seeing. So we gotta separate everything from each other. But at the crux of everything is that to some level we've been socialized to think that when you see black people that you gotta be more. Especially if they're not, in the corporate type, they're not like light skinned. They look like me and B. So you got more afraid. I mean, and you can't tell me that if you walk in, I'm not gonna go there, but I'm just saying it's not only white folks that's been programmed that way. Some of us have been programmed that way as well. I want to say all of us have been programmed that way. Some of us just know how to fight it to say like, hey, hold on, that's I mean, why am I tripping? You're like. No, I mean, some of us just know how to be like, I mean, we know better to not to think that because we've caught up to the fact that we were programmed that way. As from being a little kid, movies that we watch and all this stuff. Thank God to the Eddie Murphys of them that did movies that show black, cops like Beverly Hills Cops and all this stuff. I mean, before that, everything they ever showed of us was bad. So to some level, that is programmed in us to be afraid of each other. I mean, you can't dance around those things. So it's not just like the police. It's a radio. I mean, look at this morning. Some asshole from the Oakland Raider tweeted out something about how I can breathe. Like, like okay, now y'all get up and go, and which is what I think the majority of white folks feel like. They just don't say it. They all say all the nice things, and we're like, oh, we're a better America, you know. Then we find out next time that, you know, that this shit happened again. Majority of them feel that same way. That guy in Oakland is just calling it out the way he feels and how most of them feel.
But then somebody was saying you just saying that just to attack us. And you could be coming from, and I know knowing you coming from a great place of love.
Right.
But I mean, like, but once again, I don't have a problem with the police. I just have an issue with somebody having the problem with me. That's where the fear comes in, you know. And it can, I have a problem
with anybody trained to automatically perceive me as a threat.
What?
But then again, I gotta understand about the situations. So like I said, I've had a ginger head Derek Chauvin. My motherfucker's quick to pull a pistol on my ass. And like I said, I'm sitting here trying to help him. One of my homeboys had to go answer a warrant from the police. No, actually from the sheriff. The sheriff said, meet me at your mama's house. You sign the papers, you good, you know, you don't have to then, you can go on back to work or whatever. So I take him over there, me and his uncle. For whatever reason, somebody ends up calling the actual police while the sheriff is serving a warrant. And because it's in the city, they automatically have jurisdiction. So because there's a warrant and they're in jurisdiction, they just go ahead with the arrest. So now he's free. Now he's flipping out. He's going off on family members. Grandparents is over there wondering what happened. The uncle is my homeboy. He flipping out. He's cussing folk out. The police is getting aggressive, is getting anxious. I'm trying to like calm everything out. I'm talking to the cop, trying to figure out what information we need to go ahead and get him out as quick as possible. You know, he gonna need a bond. He gonna need an RR. Like, you know, what's good? Is it why I can go ahead and just take what's on him now, so y'all can just go ahead and speed up the process. You ain't got to worry about, you know, searching him or nothing. Y'all count this as your search. I just take all this stuff with. I'll take it with. So in the midst of that, Uncle starts making threats. I'm trying to calm him down. I got to threaten him to get him to calm down. So from the cops aspect, what he hears is me calmly talking to him, and then in a quick second, screaming, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna knock your stupid ass the fuck out and drag your ass in my truck. And I'm screaming that to his uncle while the nephew is in handcuffs, trying to keep his composure, but every bit about to have a fucking breakdown. Now the cops feeling anxious. A lot of people are emotional. The one calm person that finally got emotional. So he quit. So now I got to calm myself back the fuck down and show him that, hey, this ain't what that is, and you need to get your hand off that trigger quick. I'm here trying to help you.
Right.
I'm trying to keep his ass. I'm trying to keep you from having to deal with him. No, you got him. Ain't no need for this. Ain't no need for no extra stuff. So ain't no need for that. I had to do that because I had to be aware of the situation. But like I said, my father and him putting me in martial arts added that type of training and awareness. Always be mindful of the situation. You can take your race out the equation. The race just kind of helps or hinders the situation. But at the core of it, you have emotional people screaming, making threats. You have legal means per your training to at least unhook that strap, and kind of now you're putting that heightened sense where you can go more for judgment calls. So I understood it, but I didn't appreciate it none the fucking less.
Right.
But looking on the outside and looking back at it, I could understand what would put him in that situation. And adding Black on top of that, he easily could have got away with it.
I'm glad my man cleared that whole thing up without the I can breathe thing, you know, like.
Oh yeah, the owner Mark Davis from the Oakland Raiders. I saw like a video cut on that, and I was just like, I'm not surprised that And Nancy Pelosi. Oh my gosh! Don't get me.
Oh
started.
man,
Oh my gosh! The craziness
Jesus.
that comes out these people's mouths.
what did she do? What did she say again? What did she say?
She
I know
said, "Thank
I don't pay no
you."
mind to her.
She said, "Thank you." I'm paraphrasing, ladies and gentlemen. So y'all can go tell Nancy Pelosi, go run, tell that. I'm paraphrasing. She said, in the word lines up, "Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for freedom and peace." And I'm
Bitch,
like,
I slapped you.
and you had two of the sisters in the back. I remember the short
Bitch,
hair
I
one
slapped you.
shaking her head like this. Yeah, you're right, Nancy.
Well,
I'm sorry.
So their
Smash your motherfucking head back. What's wrong with you, asshole?
that's one of the problem too.
Some shit look. Not to cut you off, man. I need to get this out. As a prolific shit talker,
What?
like people have known me since high school. Will tell you that nigga love to talk shit. So if somebody talk more shit than Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton on the drunken fight, there's some things you just don't say.
Right. Keep to yourself. Keep to yourself. And she's getting drugged for it. But going back to
it's not even that. So there's less problem for me. Like when those black people, you can't tell me that if Trump has said that the two of them who are nodding behind it would have been nodding. They'd have been the first one to go tweet he don't know how So because they want to keep their job, they work with Madam Boss Nancy. They want to keep their job. Oh, whatever she says is cool, But what she's saying is actually an insult to our community, saying that this guy who is one out of many cases. So now we're in a post-racial community now. To her, she doesn't get it. Yeah, she doesn't get it. And instead of them letting her get it or telling her to get it, they don't want to send them to their boss. So what I'm trying to get at is there's a lot of black people who are at the table, sitting at the table who are supposed to be helping us prevent the next case happening, but because they want to keep their job, they won't say nothing. And we don't say nothing to them neither. Oh, but we would say, it happens everywhere. We have sellouts everywhere, so we should not bother our sellout. I'm just saying we gotta also fix our problem too. That's all I'm saying. We have our own problems in the same way too. They can help solve the major problem. The major problem is racism and police brutality. That's the major problem. But we can help fix it, and they're not doing it.
But my thing is, we just can't sit there and just be like, well, we gotta fix this. We gotta fix this when my dad is dead. That's my issue. That's what leads to me to be like, what the problem do you have with me? What the problem do you have with us? I get that. We do. I don't even want to say black on black crime. We do some crazy shit to our own people. I get that. But why should I worry about what's going on right here where I got a mother, a son, a daughter, somebody that's dead in front of my yard, and you saying, well, you got to worry about what's going on here. I want to know, yes, my shit's all fucked up. Ain't shit at your house all fucked up as you as an officer? So if we got to keep the same energy on both sides. My thing is, but why? What is the problem? What do the problem that you have with me? It's only so much you can keep using, saying that, well, y'all do these things, y'all do that thing. Well, I can say on the same side, y'all do these things, y'all do those, you do that things. So what is the problem? I'm trying to live my life, because we cannot forget there are organizations, aka what's that organization in North Carolina beach that your boy is with, Daddy
Proud
Boys? What's it? No, the group the group with the Crip and the Blood that was a guest on the show.
Footprints.
Yeah,
Daddy
Footprints and Daddy Duties. You got organizations that's trying to fix the stereotypes. They're trying to fix the community as best way they can, because when people say those things, and man, like I said, you saying it from a place of love, but you got organizations that people don't recognize, that people don't talk about, because when you talk about,
I wasn't talking about that.
It's more than just breaking stereotypes too. But it's taking the experiences, and it's taking the negativities and the negative stigmas and using them to explain and help them understand how they need to move forward in a positive mindset.
Right, and you got organizations that's doing the work that you're saying that we need to fix. So we got those going on. So we just can't keep harping. Well, we still got this going on. We got that going on. You got organizations in these communities that's trying to help out, that is trying to get everybody on the right foot. Now, then you look on the police side. What are y'all doing? What training that you're doing that you need to get rid of to help to stop what is going on in the streets? What are you doing? What have you done for yourselves lately?
That's more of a mental and psychological deal on their end. They need better training, better vetting in those aspects.
Because I think it's so easy to say us, when they should be saying the same thing about themselves. Well, we need to work on us too.
Right, bro. But that's what I'm saying.
And the bridge, well, the broken bridge is, what's the problem? What's the problem that is dividing us from building that bridge? Or I won't say building that bridge, but fixing that bridge so we can have trust in you to do your job and to trust us to be the model citizens that we should be. Because
right, I don't know. I didn't. Well, the last time I just said something, I wasn't talking about that. I left that alone. I'm talking about the two black folks who were behind Nancy Pelosi. What I'm saying that they were there and they had opportunity to tell her that, ma'am, you have it wrong. You don't understand our community, but because they want to get paid, they're implicit to the fact that white folks who might not know how to solve it, because Nancy can be part of the problem, to be part of who they can fix this problem. So but the fact that she don't have no clue of what's going on, but those black folks don't want to say nothing, so they don't offend them, so they don't lose their job. That's a sellout. You have an opportunity to fix the thing, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about. When I was just talking about now, you were talking about the black and black. I left that alone.
I just wanted to give my side on that one. But for those two ladies,
talking about the black folks who were there, and they can actually help solve the problem. But they want to sit there and just act like they don't know what they're doing. And we know the major problem, which is police brutality and racism. We know that. But if part of solving the problem is getting the help from our people, and our people ain't doing it, we gotta charge them up and be like, hey, you part of the problem too, because you can help solve the problem. So the next one won't happen. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, grab a bucket and throw it on fire, and opposed to be like, oh, like it's fire burning. Oh, it's fire burning. Grab a bucket. You know, you right there next to the bucket.
And the thing is, like, the reason why I said that point, because I did finish my point from the last time when you brought it up, and then we talked about Nancy Pelosi stuff. So that's why I said that part. But for those ladies that stood in the back and they were shaking their head, I agree with you 110%. And it goes back to this, and we talked about it. We have to have a grasp on what is going on locally. We have to get involved in our politics. We have to understand who is the superintendent of our schools, who is our superintendents, who is our mayor, who is our laborers. Not laborer. I know I said that wrong, because I know a lot of them, like big time cities, got that. It begins with L. Forgive me for that. But we have to know who is in the position of power. And one thing I give to Gary Chambers, which honestly, Mayo, thank you for referring me to him. I was like, if we had more brothers like him, this right here, all this stuff wouldn't be happening. Things would be taken care of. He would be straight up. Honestly, if he was the mayor, if he would have won in Louisiana to represent them, he would have did not 360. I believe he would have did a 180 in his area. I believe that. We need more brothers like him. We need more brothers that's what's his name that's running in Kentucky? I forgot his freaking name. Do you know him, Mayo? I forgot his name.
I forgot his name too, but no, I know if he's talking about.
He's running. He's running again. And he's running against Rand Paul. I would love to have him on the show.
What?
try to.
I forgot his name too. Yeah.
And then also, I would love to have Gary on the show too as well. We need brothers like that, and even Nina Turner, who's running in Ohio. We need more sisters like that, because I still, ladies and gentlemen, it's unfortunate and it pains me to say this. Every day I'm losing faith in this country. I'm losing faith. We're not the home of the free, the home of the brave. It's becoming less and less of that every single day.
I feel very, very morbid and morose right now, because hearing you say that, my first thought is, nigga, you still have faith in America?
Right. And when I hear,
like, honestly, as you were saying that was what was in my like it's 2021. Niggas still got faith in America?
Here's the crazy thing.
Y'all really think these niggas give a fuck about us?
And the crazy thing is, now you got immigrants saying that. Even through all the atrocities that they've been going through, they're saying the same thing. And I'm not saying this based upon police brutality. I'm saying upon,
the
reparations.
Stigma that is America.
Right, systemic racism. And then I'm still finding out things about us and history of things that I hold dear, to come to find out, damn, that's a part of our oppression. Like, really? Like, I love the NFL. We all got NFL teams. We had people that played in high school. We had people who played in college. Not going to mention their name. You got them that, we love the sport. I mean, nothing makes me more excited and pumped up when you hear the clackling of a freaking helmet, or that big time hit that get you be like, woo! Or even when you on the field, you put those cleats on, you put that freaking helmet, you put on the freaking, oh my gosh, and you put that on, you just get to hitting. Nothing is more exhilarating than that. But then come to find out the politics behind it, it blows my mind. Because at one time there was an all-white sport. And then they realized the wealth, and it's kind of funny, Gary Chambers is on right now on Instagram. I mean, the wealth of the black man and how much they could make. Now they started drafting black folks on their football team. And look where it's at now. It went from what? To a NFL, well, when the merger happened, it went from $100,000 business to a multi-billion-dollar business. All that money. And it's a book that I need to get. It's called the $1 Million Slave or something like that. It's
$40 million slave.
Yeah, I need to get that book, because that book was written 10 years ago, decades ago.
About 20 years ago.
Yeah,
or more.
And everything that was written in that book, for people that read it, he said all of the things that he said is coming to tuition. The roosters are coming home to roost. He put this in the book. He said that this is what's going to happen, and it's happening. And it's one of the I'm looking at McCary.
Me too.
Lost faith. Well, yeah, and to understand that we don't have only minority, only one owner who is not white is Khan, and that's the owner of the freaking Jacksonville Jaguars. He's actually Indian. He's the I think he's the CEO. Yeah, he's the CEO of the that yogurt that begins with a C. I forgot what it's called.
I don't care what he did.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't remember. Man.
Yeah, and that his son, I'm sorry.
His son got AEW.
Yeah, his son got AEW too. And
what?
His son, his son, who's actually
Tony.
I think he's like Tony Khan. He's actually the vice president of Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, well,
and he owns AEW. Mm-hmm. So he's the only person of color that's the owner in the NFL. Let that sink in.
Actually, technically, they're the only persons of color in sports team management.
Yes,
and sports management.
Right,
What?
and so, and LeBron James just bought part of the freaking Red Sox.
I thought Jordan owns part of what's it called?
No, Jordan. Jordan is there. He's a full owner of the Charlotte.
Charlotte, yeah.
Yeah, he's a full owner because that.
Oh, he's full owner now.
Yeah.
Okay. Because last I saw, he was like a silent partner.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, like minority partner. Yeah, he was a silent partner in the Wizards. He was a minority partner in Charlotte.
Yeah, he was a minority. And they did him dirty over there. He was like, you know what, F you. And he went down and he that's him and what's his face? Him and Bob Johnson bought the Bobcats. So I remember when they did that. And I think he bought Bob Johnson out, I believe. So now he's the owner.
I lost respect for Bob Johnson when he sold BET.
Yeah, I know. Same here. And but what the point I'm getting at is, we going to Mayo's point, we said that we need to clear up our house. I think that's the foundation right there, is the politics of our local community, of who is the chief of police? Who is your superintendent of your school district? Who is your local mayor? Who is your senator? Who is your state representative? Who is your U.S. representative? Ladies and gentlemen, it's not that hard to find.
And we should know all those things, and we should be engaging in all levels in pushing them, and it's so when again to make sure I let you know, and I'm glad you said it down there, that I'm not just being hard on us, just like I'm not like other folks. And I'm being hard on us out of love, because I feel like I'm the biggest thing I don't like is that for us at some point, all the other races that might come out as allies, we might lose credibility in front of them if we seem like the wolf who always cry, the boy who always cry, wolf is out to go. Well, like we always cry, and to some level, some of them are legit, some of them are not legit. And after a while, people be like, oh, it's black folks, and so I'm just trying to make sure that we separate what's going on. The ones that we need to take care of, we make sure we take care of. We have a committee that we set out and go take care of that. The ones that they need to take care of, we get to them every day and be like, no, hey, take care of them. We can't keep killing us, So but we gotta separate the two. So I just feel like for the two things I think that's essential is, one, we have to eradicate violence in our young, especially our low income communities. How the celebration of violence, we have to eradicate that. And number two is that the part about our politicians selling us out. Seeing problems, seeing poverty, seeing us in poverty, seeing us in all this thing, and they like to sit down there and get jobs and get their family jobs, and that's they're working for just themselves. While we think that we got representatives, and everybody else got representatives but us. So we got those two things, the things we need to work on, and I guess the politician one, educate ourselves as well, how we can be better citizens, so we can get these folks out and educate young men and women so they can go run and represent us better. If we ain't doing that, that's all our responsibility. But on the other side, people can't be plucking us up off the streets like we fruits and stuff, and us not saying nothing. We gotta say something. I get it. That's the people who are doing it. They're wrong. We can solve all that. We can walk and chew gum. It's not something too hard for us to do. So that's how my thing is. Let's walk and chew gum and solve all the problems.
All right, go ahead, Beast. Then we got to do our final points.
Was it to Mayo's point? It's I was going to ask between both of y'all, when you buy your electronics, do you get the insurance, aka the warranty?
Most of
phones, big TV, most.
I just get it.
It gotta be something like more than $5,000. I'll get it.
We feel saying on good on purchases that you want to keep around for a while.
Right.
Yeah, like a big screen TV, black screen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You get the insurance. Now, why you get the insurance? Because if for some reason it fuck up before in that span of the warranty and coverage, you have the legitimate reason and right to act a complete ass, especially if they say you get the money back, or like however, whatever they say, you can be an asshole and walk in there. This y'all sold me a fucked up TV. I came in here and spent $750 fucking dollars 24 hours a day, and I got a fucked up TV. What the fuck you gonna do about it? So you have a receipt. Here's a goddamn receipt with the extra motherfucking warranty and insurance. What the fuck you gonna do? What are they gonna do? They gotta take it. Why? Because I went and got the insurance. Now, if I did all that and I ain't had the insurance, I would look like a complete, utter fucking ass to everybody. But because I got the insurance, exactly. But because I got insurance and I did my due diligence, I am well within my rights as an American consumer. Am I not right?
That's true. That's true.
So as politics goes, that's how we need to apply it. Politics is your ethical and moral insurance while going through America. The more you know, the more knowledgeable you are of the politics within the nation on a local community level as well as a national level, the better it is for you to maneuver no matter where you are in this nation. You are more knowledgeable. So anything you want to do, however you want to make your money, you know what ways you can legally make your money and move and hustle within the system. They got shit set up like that, but the only way you're gonna know is to get yourself out there. A lot of these bills and politic moves that get put in place counterbalance each other and counteract each other and cause a benefit in certain spots. The more knowledge you know, you can find yourself nicely edged up around that spot and get some of that benefit. The only way you're gonna know is you got to increase your political insurance. That way, if shit don't go right, you also got the right to get up here on TV and say, I'm mad at the way this community is going, such and such, this senator, this alderman, this comptroller.
Thank you, alderman.
Yes. You know each and every one of these motherfuckers' names. You know their children's names. You know the first day they stepped up in a suit to do the job they claim because you got your knowledge. What? So any emotion you will vote from that point is negated, no matter your color, no matter your creed. You are an educated, enlightened, emotionally impactful individual, and they will hear what you have to say.
And speaking of that, let's go ahead and get our 5 points so we can we're going to have Bish, the community will close out the show for us. So that's why I want to do the 5 points real quick. So start with you, Mayo. What's your final point?
Final point would be a wrap up of pretty much everything we talked about today. It'll be pretty much very identical to what I just said earlier. The 3 prongs is one, to take care of home, and it's not as important as I'm not ranking them as high important to lower important, just in the sense of one, take care of home, make sure that we can reduce the amount of violence that we celebrate. I think when I say we celebrate, it's become a post-traumatic slavery, slavery syndrome. I mean, for all the things we dealt with through slavery, I think that that's part of some of where it comes from. Where people that have been brutalized so much, and we get in that mindset where like to us to correct that, somebody got to feel the pain. And at some point, we get to the point where poverty is part of the whole thing too. So how can we solve those poverty? It goes to my point number 2. We got to get our elected officials to start working on those things that systemically ingrained into our system, where a lot of us are struggling. We know about the struggle. We know about all the shows that we see on TV. I think the Cosby's and Jeffersons are the only 2 black ones that were rich, and then those family shows, and most of them are the ones that are struggling. And it was depicting some of what most of our community are feeling. But the more we go into the future, we're getting better income into better families, into more of our families. However,
Jefferson's, Fresh Prince, and Family Matters.
That is true. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that's true.
Family Matters was like middle class.
Right, middle class. Family Matters like middle class.
And not to mention he was a cop too as well. So
there you go.
I think he was a sergeant. Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry, you meant to interrupt.
No, you but the point I'm trying to make out of that is that we the ones that know better should do better and go back to the community and teach better. And we are part of the biggest community ever, which is the human race community. So you always got to remember that too. My point with all that racial stuff is that Let's get people who are supposed to be working on it. They are part of us. Like so, out of that, 100% of elected officials we have, the 13% that represent us. Let's make sure that they represent us. So it's not at the end of the day we got 100% people that working against us. Because they're black. They say all skin folks and all black folks and skin folks. All skin folks and
Skin folks ain't your kinfolk. I got you. We got you.
folks. I mean, so we gotta fix that. We gotta start making sure that we send kin folks in there, and then opposed to the parties sending skin folk in there who are not our kin folks. So we gotta work on that part, and it's something that's gonna take a while for us to do, but we just gotta work on that part. And the last part is like we get those same people are the ones that's supposed to fix the major problem, which is the police brutality and the racism. It's a two-pronged thing that's tied in together. You got police, the racist, and you got police brutality, which is part of the culture, and that's tied together. And we keep getting going down the street. Of course, we can ask them to fix it by themselves, but if they're not fixing by themselves, at some point we got to start get up and start doing something to change it. And what we can do to change it, if we want to do it in a democracy way, is to get through the system and dismantle the system and make them do that. Opposed to maybe us ourselves and trying to start a civil war. I don't see that getting us nowhere. The folks who want a civil war, they need to go sit down. I ain't trying to get arms and start shooting. I want to start seeing how we can change the system where they can stop looking at us like that and start shooting us easily. So again, I yield, but I just want to make sure that we say that there's those three prongs that need to be taken care of. As I'm yielding, that one thing I was going to bring into the show, I never mentioned the whole time, is we need to stop this. When like we won, like yesterday afternoon, I saw a lot of black folks that we won, they lost. It's like nobody's winning and losing. I mean, at the end of the day, let's stop this win losing. Like let's just try to see if we can think of ourselves as part of the human race and just stop racism, stop killing people when they're on black men. But the idea that somebody's winning, somebody's losing, or in the sense of racial wise, we before we know we're gonna start a racial war, and it's not good for nobody. At the end of the day, everybody should be in pursuit of happiness. How you can feed your family, how you can work hard and on some hard living ways, and feel like you did well, and you can live the rest of your life peacefully. And instead of this, I'm on team black, I'm on team white. Then let's be on team people, And I know it sounds like like can't we all get along? Or it sounds like all kumbaya-ish, but it's the truth. And if they teach us as little kids, why not keep that mindset till we die? Why not? I yield.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. So my final point is this. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Sky Zone Society, as you see behind me, and also Cheddar Boy Popcorn for sponsoring the show. I need to start advertising this. People share, like, hashtag Faith to Black Facebook page. You can also go on our YouTube page at Damn Entertainment. Also, you can go check out our channel as I'm trying to find it over here. Right here. Our channel is right here. It's going to continue strolling as we go to Beast community. But for the sake of time, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into the show. Thank you so very, very much. Cannot wait to go live on Friday. And once again, as for myself, Monte Morris, for my boy Mayo, and also for Beast, even though Beast will close out the show, we'd like to thank you for tuning into hashtag Fade to Black. Beast, it's time for us to go to the community. It is time for us to you're gonna be as they say, you are the one to do the curtain call. You are the what they say in the show, who's the last person at the show? You're the closer.
Might as well get used to it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, on behalf of everybody else for tuning into your show, thank you so very, very much. Beast, time for us to travel. And let's get on here and get a lesson in the community.
All right. I'm pretty sure most people have heard this from quote unquote strippers or vain, manipulative people, but use what you got to get what you need. And sometimes you gotta use the negative or the bad about you in a manner that's good. Goes back to the whole perceptive image thing. like I said, I know how I'm viewed, so I know most brothers that are like me, they get that and acknowledge that acknowledge perception of them. When it can benefit you, you do it and you use it. I know how I'm perceived, so I don't really have to get loud with a whole bunch of folk. I just have to get real stern and really don't have to say but so much to acknowledge the fact that if you want to go there, oh, I will be that stereotype more than willing and give you a real experience. Nonetheless, I don't expose myself to be that type of person. I make sure that that perception is conveyed or at least inferred upon them. But I do not act or carry myself on a public scheme in that fashion. But I do acknowledge it nonetheless. So you got to use that to your advantage. You can avoid a lot of situations or de-escalate a lot of situations. I use it personally for my group homes. I'm larger than a lot of my clients, and for those that are the same size, if not larger than me, I always explain to them that due to my training, I'm more liable to kick in with my martial arts and my wrestling training than my actual restraintment training. So if you try to fight me, knowing that you were built like a grown man, I'm going to take you down like a grown man. I'm not going to look at you like you're a 16, 17-year-old mentally disturbed person. No, you come swinging at me, judo flip. Or you wouldn't do not carry yourself in that manner. I rarely, only on really 3 occasions in my whole experience in this industry, actually had to put my hands on a client and restrain them. But all the other dozens of them didn't really have to, because I knew how they viewed me and I used it to my advantage. And when I knew people would feel some kind of way, I maneuvered myself to avoid that perception. Point being, I know the portraits people perceive in life. So I'll use whatever color is necessary and blend them in whatever way I need to convey that particular perception at that moment, especially if it will benefit me, especially if it will help benefit another or help be beneficial overall to the conclusion of the situation. Sometimes you got to acknowledge the bad to get the good. Don't mean you got to be the bad to get the good. Always remember that. Say it one more time like a preacher. Sometimes you got to acknowledge the bad to get the good, but it don't mean you got to do the bad to get the good. Hope y'all enjoyed this show as well as coming down to the community. I enjoy speaking with you, and I hope to talk to you again. I yield the floor. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Have a good one.